It's time for America Outdoors Radio. The fast-paced hour of outdoors radio ahead is not only awesome, but unlike those other shows, you can actually sleep in for this one. Better still, we've got a special Pacific Northwest edition for you, sponsored by Northwest Sportsman Magazine, Rugged Point Lodge on Vancouver Island, and Northwest Fishing Guides out of our hometown here in Everett. You won't find this version of America Outdoors Radio anywhere else. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio. Brought to you by Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
Welcome aboard. I'm John Cruz. As always, we start off our Pacific Northwest edition with What's Hot. Checking recent angler reports at northwestfishingreports.com, there are a couple of lakes you may want to try. Silver Lake in Snohomish County gave up a nice limit of rainbows from 12 to 14 inches to an angler who also had success catching perch and a nice largemouth bass, too. Clear Lake in Pierce County isn't giving up lots of fish, but anglers are catching quality trout and kokanee averaging 14 inches. Find out more, to include how your favorite lake is fishing, at northwestfishingreports.com. Heading south, fishing for salmon and steelhead on the Cowlitz and Kalama is fair at best, according to Al Thomas with the Columbian newspaper, but catch and release sturgeon fishing continues in the lower Columbia. Washington officials sampled 29 anglers with 59 legal sturgeon released between Woodland and Longview last week. Chinook fishing continues in the lower Columbia with a catch rate of about a salmon per 10 rods and a 50% mark rate. More steelhead were sampled than Chinook. The steelhead mark rate was 88%, and steelhead catches have been decent downstream of Longview. Also on the Columbia River, pike minnow fishing is hot, especially at the Dalles and Columbia Point, where anglers recently were hauling in an average of 9 to 13 plus fish a day. Another place to catch them? Beacon Rock below Bonneville Dam. There weren't too many anglers fishing for pike minnow, but those that were averaged 19 apiece. You can't eat them, but if you register the day you go and turn them into a catch station, you can make anywhere from $5 to $8 a fish, and tagged fish can be worth up to $500. It's all part of the pike minnow sport reward fishery, and there are some people who make serious money doing this every summer. Find out more at pikeminnow.org. Finally, it's time to talk to our friend Jim Stahl. He's a longtime guide and an Everett native. He's been fishing for Chinook on the lower Columbia and will continue to do so through July. But the big game ahead is going to be the Buoy 10 fishery at Astoria. Let's find out more about it from the co-owner of Northwest Fishing Guides. Jim, what kind of fish are we talking about here, and when is the prime time to be fishing at the mouth of the Columbia for salmon this summer?
Typically, prime time is usually the third week of August, but this year, the way the tides fall, actually the second week of August and the last week of August are the best. For fish, we're looking at anywhere from 18 to 22-pound kings, and coho run anywhere from about 8 to 14 pounds.
Buoy 10, it's the biggest fishery that happens. Let's go ahead and talk about tactics. How are you getting those Chinook salmon in the boat?
Most of it we're trolling herring. We're lead, a lot of lead. We're also, in the last couple of years, the fish flash with anchovies. Anchovies have been in the river the last 2 years in huge numbers, so don't be afraid to go out there with both anchovies and herring. The only difference that we're doing in the setup is in herring we're going about 3.5 to 4 inches between the hooks on number 4/aughts, and anchovies we're only going about 2.5 inches between the hooks, and we're actually going 3/aughts.
Well, there you have it. Find out more about booking a trip with Jim Stahl for the Buoy 10 fishery by going to his website at nwfishingguides.net. That's nwfishingguides.net.
And with that, let's head to this week's national edition of America Outdoors Radio.
Tom and Jerry's Boat Center in Mount Vernon is Washington's largest Hughes Craft and Kingfisher aluminum boat dealer. As a leader in sales, service, and fun on the water, Tom and Jerry's only purpose is to make sure you end up with the right boat for your family's needs at a price that will make you smile. Whether it's a new Hughes Craft or Kingfisher or a new Yamaha or Honda outboard, Tom and Jerry's can take care of all your needs. Check us out at tomandjerrys.net, and we'll see you on the water.
Want a trip with some of the most talented anglers on the water? Then book a trip with Northwest Fishing Guides. Salmon, that's right, salmon are their specialty, and you'll get a chance to catch them out of the mighty Columbia River from a comfortable and sturdy 26-foot boat. Northwest Fishing Guides will take you out for steelhead and sturgeon too, and can also accommodate your saltwater fishing desires. So whether you want salmon in the cooler or other fish on the line, book your trip now at nwfishingguides.net. That's nwfishingguides.net. Book your trip with the best.
It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
We start off with some big bass news, courtesy of our presenting sponsor, Northwest Sportsman Magazine. In case you didn't know, the state largemouth bass in Washington State was caught in 1977 out of Banks Lake in eastern Washington by Wenatchee angler Carl Pruitt. That brutish bass weighed 11.57 pounds, and that record has stood for nearly 40 years. Now, we have news that 2 largemouth bass have been caught by anglers this spring in western Washington that may have bested that record. The first bass was caught by Ryan Haverman at an unnamed lake near Marysville, Washington. Haverman reports catching the lunker on a plastic stick bait, and he had it weighed with 2 different digital scales, which showed it to be an 11.63 pound fish. Haverman took photos of the bass that he submitted to Northwest Sportsman Magazine and then released the bass back into the water. The second bass is reported to be even bigger. Another experienced bass fisherman, Tim Walls, said he was fishing a private lake in western Washington with a black Senko. On his very first cast, the huge fish hit the plastic worm. Walls said he thought it was a big trout until it jumped and he saw it was a huge bass. After a 10-minute fight, Walls was able to get it in and weigh it. How much did it weigh? Listen to this. According to Walls, the bass tipped his digital scale at 13 pounds, 9 ounces, which smashes the standing record. Like Haverman, Walls photographed the bass and turned it loose. And that is the problem as far as records go. In Idaho, you can actually catch and release a record fish under a new program they rolled out last year. However, Washington, like most states, requires you to take the fish to a certified scale and have a representative from the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife inspect it before it is a certified record. In other words, catch and release isn't an option. Because the fish were released, there's no way to know with absolute certainty whether they would have been a state record fish. But you can judge for yourself by going to nwsportsmanmag.com, where you'll find the photos and more information about how these fish were caught. The website again, nwsportsmanmag.com. Check those bass out. Now, this bass story is pretty impressive, but to our listeners in California, they might not be as impressed because they've got some really big bass down there. A lot bigger than 11-pound bass, let me tell you that. And there's some folks that might know about that are tuning in today because we've got a brand new station. It's AM 1460 KCNR. They are broadcasting our show to listeners around Redding and Shasta and Northern California. We are thrilled to have you on board the America Outdoors Radio Network. So, what do we have for you on America Outdoors Radio this week? We're going to get a chance to check in on how the fishing is sizing up this summer off the northern Oregon coast when we talk to Ty Mountner with Garibaldi Charters. And we'll also talk about boats and towing insurance for both your boats and trailers with Scott Croft. He's with Boat US. Did you know your boat trailer is not covered by your standard auto insurance policy? I didn't. That's just one of the things I learned while talking with Scott this spring along the shores of Diamond Lake in southern Oregon. We'll head back to land to talk about the shooting sports too. We're not previewing any specific firearm. Nope. This week we are talking about a couple of accessories. John Bowman with Carolina Brass will explain what blackout brass is and why it's a big deal for reloaders. And then we'll talk to Nick Blessing, who's coming at us via telephone from the Lone Star State. Dick works with D.M. Bullard Leather, and they make some of the nicest leather gun belts and holsters you have ever seen. We've got outdoors news for you, too. Gun control has been in the news a lot lately in the wake of the mass shooting in Orlando. And one seeming common sense measure being bandied about is to not allow people on terror watch lists or no-fly lists to buy firearms. Sounds reasonable, right? Shouldn't be any arguments, right? Well, don't jump on this bandwagon quite yet. Not until you hear about what we found out about this issue and some of the problems that go with it. On our Trail of Shame segment, we are highlighting poachers again, this time in the North Idaho Panhandle, and hope one of you might have some information that will help us catch them. But before we cover this huge variety of outdoors and shooting-related topics, we want to tell you about some very unique crab and spot prawn traps you may just want to invest in. Next, it is crabbing season along the West Coast, and we thought we'd talk to a guy who knows all about crabbing. It's John DeLaura. He is the CEO of Ocean Traps International out of Sunset Beach, California. John, welcome to America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, John, really briefly, let's talk about crab bait, because here in the Northwest, it's kind of funny. If you're in Oregon, people tend to use chicken. They say the sea lions won't get it that way. But if you're in Washington, where we also have sea lions, you'll see people using, well, a lot of times salmon guts or the remains of rockfish or other bottom fish that have been caught. In California, what do you like to use for bait when it comes to crab traps?
Well, I know people, they generally use stinky, oily fish, mackerel, sardines, even mussel. You just have to crack them open before you put them in the bait container.
Yep, and speaking of oily fish, shad is also another good one. There's plenty of those to be caught in the Columbia River right now. So let's transition from that to your traps, because your traps are very different than most crab traps I've seen. They're made out of plastic.
Yes, our plastic is made out of a pure high-density polyethylene known as Marlex 9005, and it stays strong between the temperatures of minus 103 degrees and plus 250 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow, that is impressive. So I guess another benefit of having plastic traps is that you're not going to get those rust stains on your boat.
Oh, no, absolutely not. There's no electrolysis, no corrosion, no rust stains, and no dings on nice boats, no.
In terms of durability, do they hold up as well as your regular steel traps that you see out there?
As durability is concerned, we've had people using our traps for over 15 years and not having any problems.
Wow, that is amazing. So here's a question for you. Why aren't more people building plastic traps like you? It seems like a no-brainer.
Well, the mold is very expensive to build. It's about the size of a Volkswagen. And, the trap itself is plastic, and it will catch just as much Dungeness crabs or spot prawn as any steel trap does.
So that brings up my next question for you, John. Yeah, you mentioned that it's very expensive to make. Does that mean it's expensive for the consumer to buy? What's the price point here?
We sell our traps for $75 each plus shipping.
John, for a trap that's going to last me 15 years, $75 is nothing. That's a really good deal. And I've seen plenty of regular steel traps that are close to that price up here in the Northwest, too. One other thing I want to talk about, I understand that you can stack these traps on top of each other and they don't take up as much space.
No, they're like bowls that you can put one inside the other. 5 assembled traps takes up about as much space on the deck as one large assembled steel trap does.
Wow, this is absolutely amazing. So I've got to ask another thing here. Why am I not seeing these up here in the Northwest very much?
Well, what we did is we sell them all over the world, our traps. We just, within the last 3 or 4 years, started going to the trade shows up there. We do sell up in Alaska more than in Washington, and we do sell them in Oregon, and there are a lot of people up there that are very happy with them. We just don't have them heavily advertised up there, which we're starting to do.
Are there any specific stores or chains in Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, or California that carry these ocean traps?
No, that's one of the things. We do not have any distributors. We ship directly out of Southern California, but we would be looking into having a distributor up in the Washington area, probably around Seattle.
Okay. Well, there you go, folks. That's oceantraps.com is the website to go to if you want to find out more about these high-performance plastic traps. They sound like they're a great option instead of those old steel traps, and they work great. They're not going to leave stains on your boat. Again, the website is oceantraps.com. John, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you for your time, John. I appreciate it.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, a nationwide group working to keep public lands in public hands so future generations can enjoy what we enjoy. Join the group that makes a difference. Check us out at backcountryhunters.org.
Tom and Jerry's Boat Center in Mount Vernon is Washington's largest Hughes Craft and Kingfisher aluminum boat dealer. As a leader in sales, service, and fun on the water, Tom and Jerry's only purpose is to make sure you end up with the right boat for your family's needs at a price that will make you smile. Whether it's a new Hughes Craft or Kingfisher or a new Yamaha or Honda outboard, Tom and Jerry's can take care of all your needs. Check us out at tomandjerrys.net, and we'll see you on the water.
Ocean Traps International manufactures plastic shellfish traps for spot prawns, crabs, and lobster out of Southern California. Because the traps are plastic, they don't corrode like metal traps or rust and stain your boat. The traps also stack to save deck space and are made of Marlex 9005 plastic that endures the coldest and hottest temperatures without failure. Find out more about the best crab and spot prawn traps you'll ever own at oceantraps.com. That's oceantraps.com.
Hi, this is Scott with Mike's Truck and Linex in Santa Clara, California and Hayward, California. We've been around since 1983, and we service the entire Bay Area for all your truck accessory needs. We do it all, from Linex spray and bed liners to Nerf bars, tonneau covers, toolboxes, suspension lifts, and even wheel and tire combos. Come in and see us today so we can help you get your truck to not only look great, but function great as well. Mike's Truck adds real value to your truck. Visit us at mikestruck.org for more.
Lance Campers makes the ideal base camp for all of your outdoor adventures. We've been in business for over 50 years, and we specialize in making quality, lightweight campers for your pickups as well as trailers you can tow. If you own a half-ton truck, you'll want to check out our new 650 truck camper, made especially for half-ton short bed pickups. Find out more at an RV dealer near you, and be sure to check out the entire product line at lancecamper.com. Lance Campers, quality campers for you.
Tom and Jerry's Boat Center in Mount Vernon is Washington's largest Hughes Craft and Kingfisher aluminum boat dealer. As a leader in sales, service, and fun on the water, Tom and Jerry's only purpose is to make sure you end up with the right boat for your family's needs at a price that will make you smile. Whether it's a new Hughes Craft or Kingfisher or a new Yamaha or Honda outboard, Tom and Jerry's can take care of all your needs. Check us out at tomandjerrys.net, and we'll see you on the water.
D.M. Bullard Leather has been in business for over 20 years. We use Herman oak leather to make concealed and open carry gun holsters, as well as knife sheaths, belts, cowboy gear, and wallets. All of our products are handmade, and we even offer exotic skins if you're looking for something really special. Check out our products in 16 different gun shops or go to our website at dmbullard.com. That's dmbullard.com for the best leather you will ever have.
For more than 3 decades, AA Worm Company in California has been hand-pouring plastic finesse worms and shad tail bodies for fresh and saltwater species, one lure at a time. This year, we're adding a beefier version of our original AA shad tail to the lineup. The Bad Bubba Shad Series is a paddle tail swim bait that is bulkier, so you can rig them with a much larger hook shank with reduced body wear. Look for the Bad Bubba Shad and other AA Worm Company products at a sporting goods store near you or at aaworms.com.
Welcome to Inyo County, the other side of California, the stunning eastern side of California's majestic Sierra Nevada range, home to more dramatic mountains and desert scenery than anywhere in North America. From Death Valley National Park to Mount Whitney, Inyo County is a land of extraordinary extremes. Beauty, solitude, and outdoor adventures beckon in Inyo County's 6 million acres of public land. If you can do it outside, you can do it in Inyo County. Visit theothersideofcalifornia.com.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. It's time to talk saltwater fishing, and we're going to talk about it with Ty Mountainer. He's with Garibaldi Charters off the north coast of Oregon. Ty, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So Garibaldi, over there at Tillamook Bay, you're about the closest saltwater fishing destination to the greater Portland metropolitan area, aren't you?
Yes, we are. We're pretty much a straight shot over on the 26th.
That is very nice. So, what, about an hour and a half from Portland, Beaverton to get to you?
Right, an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes.
Very nice. I mean, that's one if you wanted to, you could actually go early in the morning and not even do an overnight trip.
That's what we have a lot of people do.
I'll bet you do. So, let me ask you a question right out of the gate. Salmon fishing off the Washington coast. There is going to be a salmon fishery, but it's definitely curtailed. Basically July through early August. Might be shorter than that if quotas are met earlier. How's it looking off the northern Oregon coast in terms of Chinook and coho fisheries?
It's looking okay. Right now, we are catching some springers in the bay there and out there on the jetties. Coho season, we're going to have to see how it goes.
Oh, I understand. The numbers just are, well, for lack of a better word, close to horrific for north of Falcon.
They're not projecting it to be very good this year, but we'll have to see.
On the bright side, I think fall Chinook numbers are going to be a little bit better, so that should give you some opportunities. And there's quite a fall Chinook fishery in Tillamook Bay, isn't there?
Yes, there is, and we usually do okay. And we actually have a skiff this year, and we'll be running a lot of trips within the bay and on the outside of the jetties, too.
Very nice. So let's talk about some of the other species you fish for. And you and I have talked before, and I've always been very intrigued by your light tackle bottom fishing charters.
Yeah, we do really well on our bottom fish. We catch a lot of black sea bass. We do catch some lingcod. We drop crab pots, too, on those trips. As long as the swell is not too big, it's all included.
And so let's go ahead and walk through that. So you're dropping crab pots at the beginning, picking them up at the end of the trip. Are we talking Dungeness? Are we talking rock crab or both?
Dungeness mostly. That's
Nothing
the majority of what we catch. And we usually do pretty well in our numbers, especially late in the season. They're pretty firm.
Okay, so you're heading on out, and let's talk through the light tackle bottom fishing.
We usually drop about 2 to 4 ounces and drop in about 100 to 150 feet of water, usually within a mile, 3 miles from the coast there, so you can always see land. And it can be, about 5-hour trip, 6-hour trip. And, we do real well. Most of the time, we do get our limits of sea bass, and, we catch a variety of species. And it's a fun trip, man. It's a good one. If you want to come back with a good amount of meat, or it's a good one to kind of start off on as well. It's kind of to check your sea legs. So, but we do have a good time, and it's really interactive. You're jigging for them. So, kids really like that, and for season fishermen too, it's a fun one.
Oh, absolutely. I love catching those black sea bass. I love catching bottom fish. What is the limit in Oregon on those sea bass?
It's 7 sea bass per person, and then you can have up to 2 lingcod per person, 22 inches or bigger.
And we got to talk about those lingcod, because 22 inches or bigger, they can get quite a bit bigger than that, can't they?
Well, they can. And we catch some monsters when we do our deep reef fishing in March and then in October. During the summer months, they close the deep reef. But we do, on occasion, we don't really advertise it a lot, but we do a near-shore lingcod trip, and we target specifically the lingcod. And we'll get some pretty good ones sometimes, and a lot of times you'll get your 2 limit on that trip.
There you go. And I'll tell you what, folks, if you have not had lingcod before, it's considered one of the finer tasting fish you're going to haul out of the sea.
Best tasting fish around.
Oh, yeah. They are good. Absolutely. You're listening to America Outdoors Radio. We're talking to Ty Mountner with Garibaldi Charters about some of the fishing opportunities off the northern Oregon coast. Got to talk about another one here, and it's a big one, the tuna fishing. Tell our listeners about this opportunity.
Well, tuna fishing, and we're hoping this year it's going to be good. There's already some talk that people are starting to see some sign of them. So we'll kind of see how the season goes, and we're kind of coming off the El Nino here. It's a couple years past it, so we'll kind of see how the season goes. But we sport fish them. We use live bait and a lot of Shimano gear, some high-end pen. But it's fun, and we're going about 30 to 50 miles out, 12-hour trips. And it's a fun day, and especially when you get into them, it could be real exciting.
Well, what I really like about what you just said is it's a 12-hour day, because I know if you go further up, further north, especially several of the charter companies on the Washington coast, it's an overnight trip. I mean, it's like an 18, 20-hour day to get out there, because they just have to run a lot further out to get to those tuna.
Well, it could be a long day, and we do a 12-hour trip, and it's fun. It's not too long. You're going out there, and a lot of times we'll get into the fish, and then we'll be back by the evening, so they have a choice if you want to stay in town. And there's a lot of really nice places to stay, good facilities, and then or you can take off and head home. So we recommend staying that night if you guys do come into town. There are places that we can recommend places on our website, or give us a call and we can talk to you about it. But it can be a long day, but yeah, it is nice to stay somewhere for that evening.
I've talked to quite a few people who have just absolutely gotten hooked on tuna fishing. I mean, it just gets in their blood, is what they tell me. And I guess the deal on these albacore tuna, they're not huge, but they are just incredibly fast-running, fighting fish.
Yeah, we've actually, last year They're about 21 to 23 pounds was pretty common weight. As the season went on, we were catching some that were 40 pounds or really close to 40 pounds, and that's really big for albacore around here.
Oh, absolutely.
But they fight really well. And a lot of times, when we're using the live bait, you can see them come up and hit it, and chase it. And you have blue sharks chasing the tuna sometimes, and it's pretty fun.
Oh, man, that sounds like an absolute blast. So I've got to ask, when it comes to the tuna, I know it's not so much a limit, but it's a matter of there's just so much fish you can get on the boat sometimes and get on ice. How many tuna can an angler expect to come back with on a good day?
We like to tell people, kind of on average, what we get is about 25 to 27. That's for the whole boat. And we try to keep the numbers really low. On a 36-foot Magitech, we try to keep it down to about eight people. And then on our 43-foot Deltas, we have to try to keep the numbers to 10. And that's max, so people can share more in the fish. And that's the one trip that all the customers share in the fish. All the other trips, you get to keep the fish that you catch. But on that one, it's just such a long day, so everybody shares. But, we have some days we catch, maybe 6 for the whole boat. And then our high last year, I believe, was around 57 or 63.
Wow.
For the whole boat. So it just, it depends. And that's a lot of fish and a lot of work when you come home to camp. So, but it's nice. You'll have a lot to eat if you get a good day like that. But on average, about.
One last thing we have to talk about here is it's the fish processing. So whether it's the tuna, whether it's the bottom fish, whether it's the salmon, are your deckhands basically filleting your catch for you on the way back, or how does that work out?
We actually have flayers on call at Kelly at the spot, and then also at the cannery there, at the Garibaldi cannery. And they will flay your fish for you, and it's a little different price if they flay it that night, but they can do it for you when we pull in, or they can do it for you the next morning. They pack it on ice. It's a little cheaper because you get a little bit more yield of meat, and it's a little firmer. It's a little easy for them to flay. So it just depends on what your schedule's like, and if you can stay the evening or you have to go home.
Okay, fair enough. We're running short on time, but before we go, let's give out your website and telephone number so folks can book a tuna or bottom fishing trip or salmon trip with you.
Yeah, so we open it online for most of our trips that you can book online, and it's at www.garibaldicharters.com, or you can give us a call. If you have any questions or if you want to book it over the phone, we can do that too. And that number is 503-322-0007.
All right, that number again, 503-322-0007. That's 503-322-0007. Or go online to GaribaldiCharters.com. Garibaldi, it's the closest saltwater sport fishery you're going to find if you live in Portland. So get ready to head on out there for some saltwater fishing fun. Ty, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Garibaldi Charters offers fantastic fishing for salmon, tuna, halibut, and bottomfish off the North Oregon coast. With only an hour-and-a-half drive from Beaverton, you can get here in a hurry and go fishing. Two of our more popular offerings include private charters for salmon and live bait tuna fishing. We can also accommodate groups of up to 20 people on our boats. Book your adventure now at GaribaldiCharters.com or call 1-800-900-HOOK. That's 1-800-900-HOOK or GaribaldiCharters.com.
Sitka Point Lodge and Fishing Charters offers the premier fishing lodge experience. They offer all-inclusive fishing and lodging packages for king salmon, halibut, and rockfish. In addition to great fishing, you'll enjoy gourmet meals, first-class service, and understand why 80% of their clients are return customers that arrive as a guest and leave as a friend. Book your Alaska fishing trip now at Sitka Point Lodge by calling 888-747-7406 or go to SitkaPointCharters.com.
It's time for another local shot of the outdoors. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, and you'll only hear it here on Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
We're talking to Matt Gaget, the owner of Rugged Point Lodge on the west coast of Vancouver Island. Matt, salmon fishing in Puget Sound is not looking real promising this summer. How is it looking off the west coast of Vancouver Island this summer?
Well, it looks good. Where we're situated, we're 8 miles from the Salmon Highway. So all the runs that are going from Northern California, Washington, Oregon, Columbia River, Puget Sound, all come by our lodge. So at any given time, we can have a dozen different runs of kings in the area.
That sounds absolutely fabulous. What about the coho? Is that a sustainable fishery as well this year?
Yeah, we should have lots of coho. The best time for coho where we are is in August.
Okay, now let's talk about size, and we'll start with the kings. Is it kind of the same drill that we see in Washington and Oregon, that they usually start off smaller and they get bigger as the season goes on?
Oh, for sure. In June, we have lots of kings, but they range anywhere from, the ones we'll keep. We try and keep fish 18 to 20 plus, but some days we'll release 10 or 12 that are, in the 10 or 12 pound range.
And what about the coho in August?
They can get up to 20 pounds, but most of them are 8 to 12 pounds.
Well, there you go. Some great reasons to salvage your salmon fishing season this summer. Head on to the west coast of Vancouver Island. Check out Rugged Point Lodge. Their website, ruggedpointlodge.com. That's ruggedpointlodge.com. And if you didn't catch our conversation with Matt last week, they've actually got openings this summer. Why? Well, the economy's bad in parts of Canada where normally they would have bookings. That's an opportunity for you. The exchange rate's in our favor. So again, head to Vancouver Island and book a stay at Rugged Point Lodge.
There's a whole bunch more of the great outdoors coming your way on Fox Sports 1380.
Some of the best saltwater fishing you'll ever experience is taking place off Vancouver Island this year, and Rugged Point Lodge is where you need to go to catch them. Rugged Point Lodge offers comfortable accommodations, great food, and the chance to catch a limit of salmon, halibut, or lingcod mere minutes away from the dock. Better still, it's not too late to book a trip for this summer to take advantage of what promises to be the best salmon fishing in a generation. Book now at ruggedpointlodge.com. ruggedpointlodge.com, where fishing dreams come true.
Tom and Jerry's Boat Center in Mount Vernon is Washington's largest Hughes Craft and Kingfisher aluminum boat dealer. As a leader in sales, service, and fun on the water, Tom and Jerry's only purpose is to make sure you end up with the right boat for your family's needs at a price that will make you smile. Whether it's a new Hughes Craft or Kingfisher or a new Yamaha or Honda outboard, Tom and Jerry's can take care of all your needs. Check us out at tomandjerrys.net, and we'll see you on the water.
You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. This portion of the show is brought to you by the American Shooting Journal. If you're looking for a monthly publication that covers the shooting sports and firearms too, the American Shooting Journal is the magazine for you. Look for it at a newsstand near you. Up next, we are talking about reloading with John Bowman. He is the co-owner with his wife of Carolina Brass. John, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you very much.
Going really good. Gotta ask, reloading. When I was a kid growing up, lots of people did it, and then people didn't do it for a while, and now people seem to be doing it again. How popular is reloading, and why are folks doing it as opposed to just buying ammo off the shelf?
Well, lately what we've seen in the past couple of years is that the ammo hasn't been on the shelf. During different times, you'll have times just like this, where people panic buy. Basically, they buy everything that they can find. And then there isn't anything out there. So that's been one thing, just the availability.
Sure.
But we actually saw it start to come back. I mean, we were actually starting to see ammo come back on the shelf. But now I'm kind of thinking we're going back to the same thing we had a couple months ago.
So here's another for you, John. When it comes to reloading, how much are you saving by reloading your own ammo versus purchasing it, at a big box store?
And that's the biggest joke to all reloaders. So everybody that's been reloading for a while, I guess that's what starts us off, is that we think, we're going to save a lot of money by reloading.
Right.
That's true. You could save a lot of money versus what you're going to spend on a box of ammo at the store. Maybe half price or sometimes even better, especially if you cast, lead bullets, say you load with pistol rounds. That's really saves some money there, because once you buy the brass lasts a very long time.
Uh-huh.
So you always have the brass. All you need is the projectiles and the powder and the primer. So if you're casting your own bullets, you could load pistol rounds for 5 cents a piece, So it's hard to beat that. But what people mostly do is when they end up reloading a lot, and they end up shooting more. So I don't know if we ever,
I didn't think of it that way. So,
or maybe that's what we tell our wives, that, hey, we're going to save money.
There you go.
And then, yeah.
The things we tell our wives when it comes to buying guns, buying fishing poles, and in this case, buying ammo and reloading. So I gotta ask you something else here, John. Blackout Brass. That's kind of your signature product. What is it? Why is it a big deal?
It was basically not a big deal a few years ago. Basically, they had Whisper out for a long time. That never really took off. They changed it to 300 blackout, and we had some military guys that were starting to tell us, hey, we're using this 308 bullet, and it's way heavier than 5.56. And so then we started to figure out, well, okay, so they're using this now. Well, that's right about when they came out with, doing blackout and when it became more popular.
Let me back you up there, John. First off,
Sure.
Blackout brass, are we talking about a specific military-grade 308 caliber? Is that what it is?
It's actually going to shoot a 308-sized diameter bullet.
Okay.
And you could shoot a bullet from 110 grains all the way up to 240 grains of cast.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so you're talking about shooting a bullet that, on the bottom end, at least twice as heavy as the 5.56.
Okay.
So, and then on the top end, obviously, it's like pretty much like a super-powered 45 ACP when you're shooting, a 220 to 240 grain bullet. It's good for, that part of it is good for close quarters combat, and that's what they were using it for.
Sure.
And shorter range, well, hogs and everything else. But really, it shines in the suppressed subsonic. That's the high end. Okay, the heavyweights. The heavyweights of the bullet. But in the 110 and the 150, that's great for hogs. I mean, basically half of Texas is using that to hog hunt now.
Well, there you go.
So, yeah, that's really I think that's what's driven it, is because it's way more powerful. When you hit a deer or a hog with it, it's going down with one shot. Those guys were taking 5 and 6 rounds of .223 to get it down. So this way they load that, and boom, it's done.
Well, thank you for the education on that. We're running short on time, John, and I know that you sell a lot more than just Blackout brass. So if people want to check out your product line, what's a website they can go to where they can check out what you have and buy some too?
Sure, they can go to www.carolinabrass.net, and we have a full web store there that we update basically as products come in. So it's updated all the time, every day. Or we also sell things on Gunbroker, but basically our website is probably the best outlet. Or you can give us a call anytime.
All right.
So our number is 843-338-8689.
Okay, sounds like the easiest way to get a hold of you is through carolinabrass.net. Again, that's carolinabrass.net. Check it out and buy some Blackout brass and a whole bunch more for your reloading needs. John, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Next up on America Outdoors Radio, we're heading to the great state of Texas. That's where DM Bullard is located. They make holsters for your pistols and revolvers, to include concealed carry holsters and cowboy gear too. With us here to tell us more about their product line, Nick Blessing. Nick, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Going pretty good, Nick. Got to ask you, I've carried a lot of pistols over my time, and I've carried them in nylon holsters, leather holsters, and plastic holsters. Why do you think leather is better?
The thing about leather versus Kydex, it'll actually conform to your body. So the Kydex holsters, once you buy it, if it's not comfortable, then it's really never going to be comfortable. Leather is kind of like a good pair of boots. It'll break in over time and get better.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree with you on that because you're absolutely right. I've gone through that very thing. Now, your leather holsters, a couple special things. Number one, they are American-made. I love that. And number two, they're handmade as well, aren't they?
Yes, sir, every bit of it.
How many people work at DM Bullard?
I believe right now there is 5 of us, believe it or not.
Wow, and how many holsters can you basically turn out in a week's time?
We do about 45 a day.
Wow, okay. So you're keeping pretty darn busy then, aren't you?
Yes, sir. There's no slacking time for sure.
And when it comes to handmade holsters, that's pretty rare these days, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It's kind of a dying art, that's for sure. Not a lot of people do it anymore.
When it comes to the fact that not only do you have handmade holsters, but American-made holsters, you also use some premium leather as well. Tell me about this Herman oak leather that you use and why this is so special.
We've used a lot of leathers over the years, but in the past 10 years, we've been using the Herman oak, which it's the premium grade, pretty much the best leather money can buy. It comes out with a lot less scars, and the color turns out better, especially when we get the dyes and everything take better.
Right, and folks, you've got to go to their website at dmbullardleather.com and take a look at their products. They are beautiful holsters, and in addition to the Herman oak leather, you also make holsters and other things out of exotic skins as well, don't you?
Yes, sir. We got a pretty wide variety. We do that of hippo, elephant is one of the big ones, and tiger shark, even a wildebeest.
Oh my gosh. Wow. A wildebeest leather holster or a tiger shark leather holster. I like that. Like that quite a bit. And your holsters, they custom made. So for example, if I call up and say, hey, I got a Kimber Covert with a 4-inch barrel. It's a 1911 45. You'll make it specifically for that pistol?
Yes, sir. And if you have a laser grip on it or, say, a rail on it, we definitely need to know every little bit because they're actually molded gun specific. So just a perfect fit every time.
Fantastic. One other thing I want to touch on before we go, your cowboy gear. I know cowboy action shooting is really growing in popularity around the country, and I'm guessing you've got quite a market there among those cowboy action shooters, don't you?
Yes, sir. That's actually what we really started out on, and we kind of got into the concealed carry mainly, and that's been really good to us.
Well, I can see why. And folks, if you want your very own Clint Eastwood style holster and belt, you can find it at dmbullardleather.com. And I guess that's the last thing I got to ask. There's two ways people can go ahead and get your products. They can go to your store/factory and go to Texas, or they can go to your website, right?
Yes, sir. And we do have the gun shops that carry us that are around the Fort Worth area and some a little further out, just depends.
All right. So if you're in Texas, especially around Fort Worth, go ahead and look for DM Bullard Leather products. Otherwise, just go to the website. It's dmbullard, B-U-L-L-A-R-D, leather.com. That's dmbullardleather.com. Check out their product. Like I said, absolutely beautiful holsters that'll last you a lifetime. Nick, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks for having me.
DM Bullard Leather has been in business for over 20 years. We use Herman oak leather to make concealed and open carry gun holsters, as well as knife sheaths, belts, cowboy gear, and wallets. All of our products are handmade, and we even offer exotic skins if you're looking for something really special. Check out our products in 16 different gun shops or go to our website at dmbullard.com. That's dmbullard.com for the best leather you will ever have.
Looking for maximum firepower for your AR-15 rifle? Then check out the 50 caliber rifles available through Safety Harbor Firearms. Why shoot a puny .223 round when you can hammer home a 50 cal? They not only manufacture complete 50 caliber rifles, they also make 50 caliber uppers so you can convert your current AR-15 rifle to a full bore 50 cal boss. Find out more at safetyharborfirearms.com. That's safetyharborfirearms.com.
Welcome to Inyo County, the other side of California, the stunning eastern side of California's majestic Sierra Nevada range, home to more dramatic mountains and desert scenery than anywhere in North America. From Death Valley National Park to Mount Whitney, Inyo County is a land of extraordinary extremes. Beauty, solitude, and outdoor adventures beckon in Inyo County's 6 million acres of public land. If you can do it outside, you can do it in Inyo County. Visit theothersideofcalifornia.com.
Garibaldi Charters offers fantastic fishing for salmon, tuna, halibut, and bottomfish off the North Oregon coast. With only an hour-and-a-half drive from Beaverton, you can get here in a hurry and go fishing. Two of our more popular offerings include private charters for salmon and live bait tuna fishing. We can also accommodate groups of up to 20 people on our boats. Book your adventure now at GaribaldiCharters.com or call 1-800-900-HOOK. That's 1-800-900-HOOK or GaribaldiCharters.com.
Ocean Traps International manufactures plastic shellfish traps for spot prawns, crabs, and lobster out of Southern California. Because the traps are plastic, they don't corrode like metal traps or rust and stain your boat. The traps also stack to save deck space and are made of Marlex 9005 plastic that endures the coldest and hottest temperatures without failure. Find out more about the best crab and spot prawn traps you'll ever own at oceantraps.com. That's oceantraps.com.
And action!
Oh, Fred!
Great googly moogans, you should see the view from up here.
Fred, get off those rocks right now!
Well, don't be a wet blanket, Marge. What could go wrong?
Sneaker waves are huge swells that come out of nowhere.
What was that?
Sneaker wave, Dad. Size triple E.
You just got slam dunked.
Fred was lucky. Keep an eye on the ocean. Respect the beach.
Hi, I'm Craig Boddington. I've written about hunting for 40 years, much of it in bear country. I trust my life to Bear Spray because the research is in, It stopped bears 92% of the time and prevented injury 98% of the time. Bear spray requires less accuracy and won't harm your companions or the bear. Carry bear spray in bear country. Keep it accessible and practice.
You're back with America Outdoors Radio. It's time for some outdoors news. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Northwest Sportsman Magazine. It's the monthly publication that covers the hunting and fishing scene throughout the greater Northwest. Look for it at a newsstand near you, and look for their sister publications too. California Sportsman Magazine, the Alaska Sporting Journal, and the American Shooting Journal. In the wake of the horrific shooting in Orlando, there have been calls to not allow people on the no-fly or terrorist watch list to purchase firearms. On the surface, it sounds like a great common sense idea, but when you dig deeper, you start to see problems. Here's what Chris Cox, the executive director of the National Rifle Association, has to say about this. In his words, the NRA believes that terrorists should not be allowed to purchase or possess firearms, period. Anyone on a terror watch list who tries to buy a gun should be thoroughly investigated by the FBI and the sale delayed while the investigation is ongoing. If an investigation uncovers evidence of terrorist activity or involvement, the government should be allowed to immediately go to court, block the sale, and arrest the terrorist. At the same time, due process protections should be put in place that allow law-abiding Americans who were wrongly put on a watch list to be removed. Schultz Media Relations, which shared this statement in an email to me, went on to explain one of the key elemental problems regarding these various government watch lists is that if you get on any of these lists for any reason, and by the way, people are mistakenly put on these lists that don't belong there on a frequent basis. And if you're one of those people, you do not have any method to get off the list in question. There's no appeal process available, none at all. That's the NRA's major problem with this. The general media does not really think that this applies to everyone. They just think of this as applying to gun owners or NRA members. However, it applies to everyone. And the appeal process should be a reasonably simple thing to accomplish. Currently, you are or would be guilty until you could prove your innocence. But that process, that mechanism to prove your innocence, it doesn't even exist. The folks at Schultz Media Relations are right about the last thing they have to say about this. This is not a gun or NRA issue. This is a basic freedom and constitutional rights issue. And that, folks, should give you some food for thought. I agree. We don't want terrorists having guns. But we have to have some sort of mechanism in place so that if you end up on one of these lists and you don't belong there, you have some method to appeal this and get your name off the list. Until that happens, we probably don't want to make this a law. And with that, let's find out who's going to be in our Trail of Shame this week.
It's time for the Trail of Shame.
Shame, shame on you. Shame, shame on you.
Stories of poachers, scoundrels, and other ne'er-do-wells, so if you see someone committing a criminal act on the water or in the field, turn them in. It's the right thing to do.
Idaho Fish and Game is asking for the public's help in determining who is responsible for removing and killing young wolves from a den in northern Idaho. The incident occurred in Kootenai County, about 15 miles from Coeur d'Alene in the Sage Creek drainage. Likely occurred sometime during the week of May 16th. Now, I know a lot of people get upset about wolves, and people have real pro-wolf opinions and real anti-wolf opinions, but here's the deal. They are managed as a big game species, and they should be treated as a big game species to be managed, not rooted out of their dens and killed. This took place outside of any open season for these animals. Now, evidence was collected at the scene. They are following some leads, but Fish and Game is asking any person with information to call the Citizens Against Poaching hotline at 1-800-632-5999. That's 1-800-632-5999, or just contact your local Idaho Fish and Game office. Callers can remain anonymous, and a reward is available for anyone providing information that leads to criminal prosecution of this case. As for you, the person or persons who committed this act, congratulations. You're our latest inductee on our Trail of Shame.
Shame on you.
Next on America Outdoors Radio, we're broadcasting from the shores of Diamond Lake in southern Oregon. Beautiful day, lots of boats on the water, and with boating in mind, we thought we'd talk to Scott Croft. He's with Boat US. Scott, great to have you on the show.
It's awesome to be up in here in Oregon, and man, all the boats have left the dock for the day. Everybody's going to catch a fish today.
Everyone is going to catch a fish today, but that's not what I want to talk about with you, because you've kind of educated me here, and I've always wondered why, as I drive down the freeway, why I see boats on the side of the road and just left there for a day or two, and you know, they might have a flat tire and nothing's happening. They're not getting towed anywhere. And I just always assumed that my auto insurance covered that sort of thing.
Yeah, I cringe too as a boater. It just drives me nuts to see a nice pretty boat left on the side of the road. Maybe it's a flat tire, maybe there's an axle problem. You know, flat tires are the number one problem for trailer failure, and I encourage people to, you know, check your tires and have a spare. But what people don't really realize is most auto clubs won't touch a trailer, won't touch a boat trailer. It's not part of their standard package, and if you do want their package that'll cover it, a couple of them do offer it, but it's very expensive. It's almost prohibitively expensive. And so what we do at Boat US, we tow boats on the water, but we tow boats on the road as well. We have 18,000 providers around the country that are ready and capable, have the equipment, most importantly, to take care of a boat trailer. A boat trailer is different from a car or SUV or truck, and it usually requires a flatbed or a lowboy or something like that. You join Boat US very much like a reliable auto club. For $24 a year, you get your annual membership. And then if you want what we call our trailer assist package, check this out. We will tow both your trailer and your tow vehicle. I tell people, if you run over a box of roofing nails and every tire is blown over, we will tow both up to 100 miles, and that's a whopping $14 a year we charge for that. It's just $14 a year. Now, our trailering package only works when you're trailering and towing your boat. It's not for everyday use. But what we've found with our members is, you know, you go 6 states over, 3 counties over, you have a flat or something like that. You don't know who to call. I don't know how many vacations we've saved. People driving, you know, down south or up north or up to BC, and they have a flat in the middle of nowhere, and they got their week's vacation all lined up, and boom, they're that guy on the side of the road not knowing what to do. And gosh, I hate to see that, because, you know, there's a lot of places in that country that boats not going to be in a good spot. It may be easily stolen. It may be easily pilfered. You know, sometimes people come up to boats and start taking things off while you're trying to get gas. So for our $24 membership, add on the $14, that's talking $38 a year. We'll come get you roadside 24/7 with the right equipment and tow you up to 100 miles. Could be your home. Maybe you're within home range. Could be to a trailer shop. A lot of places will even offer roadside tire service. So we'll bring the tire, our providers will bring the tire to you and put on the tire. And now you do have to pay for the tire. We don't cover parts, but just to have that helping hand with the family in the back of the car and the hassle of not knowing what to do and how you're going to go get your problem solved. $38 a year, Boat US Trailer Assist takes care of that. And this happens thousands of times a year.
All right, well, you got me sold on that. We've only got about 2 minutes, but I want to cover another subject real quick. Beautiful day, lots of boats on the water. You know, if I was out there in a boat and my boat broke down, I'm pretty sure I could wave somebody down and get some help. But if I'm on the salt water, if I'm out heading to the tuna fishing grounds, or if I was out yesterday when the weather was cruddy and nobody was out in the lake and it was windy, and I would have had nobody to talk to if my boat broke down, because cell service out here is really spotty to begin with. But assuming I could get cell service and I could call somebody, understand you basically have on-the-water help that you offer both for freshwater boaters and saltwater boaters.
That's correct. We're the largest on-the-water tower in the country. We have 600 Red Towboat U.S. towboats at 300 locations. In addition, we have secondary resources. So what I tell people, if you're interested in that, go to boatus.com/towing and check out our towing map, and it lists all those 300 locations. We have about 15 locations here alone in the Pacific Northwest. We have a lot of locations up in the Puget Sound area, all the way to BC. We have 3 locations up in BC as well. 24-hour-a-day assistance. Usually we have 25-mile service areas, 50-mile service areas. It depends where you are. We'll come get you 24 hours a day. That service, for that annual on-water towing plan, is $149 a year. It's the best insurance you'll ever buy.
That's a lot of peace of mind as well. So again, both freshwater and saltwater for that small amount. If I break down, I don't have to rely on Uncle Joe, who may or may not be in any position to help me when I call.
That's right. 70,000 people we helped get back to the dock or their home last year. So it does happen. Breakdowns do occur, and we're there to help you.
one more time, let's give out the website so people can find out about Boat US and the membership, what you're going to get out of that, and also the two programs that we've talked about today in terms of towing your boat or towing your trailer.
You can simply go to boatus.com/towing and you'll see our trailer assist and our on-water towing and a way to join for that $24 a year. It's the best $24 you'll ever spend.
Thanks so much, Scott.
Thank you very much, and good fishing.
We hope you've enjoyed our broadcast this week. If you get a chance, go to our Facebook page. It's America Outdoors Radio. Like our page, follow us there. We're always sharing previews of what's coming up on the show. And if you go to our website at America Outdoors Radio, you'll find not only that information, but you can catch last week's show too, right there on the front page of our website, America Outdoors Radio. Another website to check out while you're on the web is WRVO Radio. You get there by going to RenoViolaOutdoors.com. It is an internet station dedicated to outdoors programming 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The website again, RenoViolaOutdoors.com. I'm hoping God blesses you greatly in the week ahead and that you'll have a chance to do some fishing, some shooting, hiking, camping, or just plain exploring. Until next time, remember this. This is your country and your outdoors.
Garibaldi Charters offers fantastic fishing for salmon, tuna, halibut, and bottomfish off the North Oregon coast. With only an hour-and-a-half drive from Beaverton, you can get here in a hurry and go fishing. Two of our more popular offerings include private charters for salmon and live bait tuna fishing. We can also accommodate groups of up to 20 people on our boats. Book your adventure now at GaribaldiCharters.com or call 1-800-900-HOOK. That's 1-800-900-HOOK or GaribaldiCharters.com.
Tom and Jerry's Boat Center in Mount Vernon is Washington's largest Hughes Craft and Kingfisher aluminum boat dealer. As a leader in sales, service, and fun on the water, Tom and Jerry's only purpose is to make sure you end up with the right boat for your family's needs at a price that will make you smile. Whether it's a new Hughes Craft or Kingfisher or a new Yamaha or Honda outboard, Tom and Jerry's can take care of all your needs. Check us out at tomandjerrys.net and we'll see you on the water.
Lance Campers makes the ideal base camp for all of your outdoor adventures. We've been in business for over 50 years, and we specialize in making quality, lightweight campers for your pickups as well as trailers you can tow. If you own a half-ton truck, you'll want to check out our new 650 truck camper, made especially for half-ton short bed pickups. Find out more at an RV dealer near you, and be sure to check out the entire product line at lancecamper.com. Lance Campers, quality campers for you.
Ocean Traps International manufactures plastic shellfish traps for spot prawns, crabs, and lobster out of Southern California. Because the traps are plastic, they don't corrode like metal traps or rust and stain your boat. The traps also stack to save deck space and are made of Marlex 9005 plastic that endures the coldest and hottest temperatures without failure. Find out more about the best crab and spot prawn traps you'll ever own at oceantraps.com. That's oceantraps.com.
Hi, this is Scott with Mike's Truck and Linux in Santa Clara, California and Hayward, California. We've been around since 1983, and we service the entire Bay Area for all your truck accessory needs. We do it all, from Linux spray and bed liners to Nerf bars, tonneau covers, toolboxes, suspension lifts, and even wheel and tire combos. Come in and see us today so we can help you get your truck to not only look great, but function great as well. Mike's Truck adds real value to your truck. Visit us at mikestruck.org for more.
Sitka Point Lodge and Fishing Charters offers the premier fishing lodge experience. They offer all-inclusive fishing and lodging packages for king salmon, halibut, and rockfish. In addition to great fishing, you'll enjoy gourmet meals, first-class service, and understand why 80% of their clients are return customers that arrive as a guest and leave as a friend. Book your Alaska fishing trip now at Sitka Point Lodge by calling 888-747-7406 or go to sitkapointcharters.com.